We welcome to the program now Tulsi Gabbard, the author of For Love of Country, which really took on a whole new meaning, Tulsi, yesterday when you endorsed Donald Trump. Welcome.
Yes. Good morning, Glenn. It's great to be with you.
Yeah. Did you realize how much you look like Wonder Woman? I'm just throwing that out there.
Hey, I'll take that compliment any day of the week.
So tell me why it is so important for you to now take the step that will make you even less popular with people on the left and put a target on your back, honestly, because they think he is absolute Hitler. Why are you joining the campaign?
I mean, the title of my book says it all. It is truly for love of country. And because I know firsthand what's at stake in this election. You know, so often we have elections that are kind of reduced to partisan differences of, well, you know, Democrats think this and Republicans think that. But this election is very different. It's much bigger than one party versus another. What's at stake here is freedom. And the fact that we have a candidate in Donald Trump who believes in freedom and the Constitution, and who, I've had personal conversations with him, who understands the cost of war and the seriousness of the fact that because of Kamala Harris and Joe Biden, we are closer to the brink of nuclear war now than ever before. That's a serious issue that he looks forward to as president, commander-in-chief, to taking on and walking us back from the brink of war. And you contrast that with Kamala Harris, who in so many ways over the last 3.5 years has shown that she will not hesitate to undermine our freedoms. We just saw Mark Zuckerberg come out publicly and say, yeah, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris essentially bullied Facebook into censoring Americans' free speech. We've seen the political retaliation against Donald Trump. We've seen the political retaliation against the free speech of everyday Americans. And I'm the most recent target for the Kamala Harris administration for criticizing Kamala Harris. They put me on a secret domestic terror watch list, which I'm told is still operational and still going on. And on the issue of war and peace, which doesn't get talked about often enough in these presidential elections, but really is core to our ability to live in a free and peaceful and prosperous society. Kamala Harris and Joe Biden have gotten us embroiled in multiple wars in different parts of the world. And it is directly because of their foreign policy that we sit here one spark away from nuclear war.
Eden Pure is back with their famous Thunderstorm air purifier. It's their top seller air purifier that quickly destroys viruses, odors, mold, and so much more. With thousands of 5-star reviews, you know it works. Any smell will vanish after just a few seconds of the Thunderstorm being plugged in. Odors, litter boxes, trash cans, cigarette smokes, dirty diapers. Wow, I don't want to visit that house. The powerful Thunderstorm sends out O3 molecules that seek out and destroy odors. I have these in my house. They're great. The molecules go behind and under furniture. Nothing can hide from the Thunderstorm. Best of all, no filters to buy over and over again, saving you money. Start enjoying your home again and get several Thunderstorms. Right now, you can save $200 on an Eden Pure Thunderstorm 3-pack for the whole home protection. You get 3 units for under $200. Put one in your basement, bedroom, family room, kitchen, wherever you need the air to be clean. Go to EdenPureDeals.com, EdenPureDeals.com. Use the promo code Beck and save.
So were you shocked? Because I was shocked. It was almost like part of her acceptance speech at the convention was written by John Bolton. She sounded like an absolute hawk, like Lindsey Graham when it comes to war. Did you feel that way?
I did. I did very much so, but it didn't surprise me because it was just another proof point showing that people. Joe Biden hasn't been calling the shots and making decisions over the last 3.5 years. If Kamala Harris is elected president, neither will she. She is the latest figurehead for the military-industrial complex, the deep state, national security state, all of those who derive the mainstream propaganda media, those who derive power or profit from us being in a constant state of war, wrote those talking points and that script that was fed into that teleprompter, and Kamala Harris declared it loud and proud. So we know exactly who she'll be working for, not for the American people, not for our national security, nor, quite frankly, does she care one iota about those of us who wear the uniform and those who serve. And this was very compelling, especially yesterday, that I made this announcement on the third anniversary of the Abbey Gate bombing and Harris and Biden's disastrous withdrawal from Afghanistan.
So who is running the country? And I saw, who was it? Some Hollywood celebrity today came out and said, it doesn't matter if she doesn't give an interview, and it doesn't matter if she doesn't articulate her platform. She just has to win. And I thought, that is voting for an oligarchy. That's because we don't know who's running the country right now. It's obviously somebody or a group of people. They have an agenda. None of us have voted for those people. We don't even know who it is. We're an oligarchy.
Right. That's exactly right. And this is important for voters to recognize. And, the more these Hollywood celebrities and other people say those kinds of things, it just reinforces that fact. And also the fact that they think that we as voters are so stupid as to fall for it. To fall for the lie, the facade that they are creating. Yes, it is Tony Blinken who has turned the State Department, which is supposed to be the department that's responsible for diplomacy and preventing war, into what is essentially a war department. And we see Jake Sullivan, who's the national security advisor in the White House. And we see people like Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton who are still calling the shots, and many others whose faces and names will not be on the front page or on your television anytime soon, both in the government as well as outside of the government, in the military-industrial complex, who are part of this. They are part of this cabal of neocon elitist warmongers who will put their power and their profits ahead of people every day of the week.
Let me play a couple of things for you, because Donald Trump, I think, would be wise to have you in his Department of Defense, and there's a lot of work to do. Here's Susan Rice in 2016 on the imperatives of national security.
For starters, a diverse national security workforce enables us to unlock all of our nation's talent. There's some 320 million people in the United States. Nearly 40% are minorities, and an increasing number of them are earning college and graduate degrees. As America becomes more diverse, so too do our best people. The next Colin Powell, or Madeleine Albright, or Bill Richardson.
Okay. Stop. She goes on I don't want to waste your time. She goes on and she says in that, inclusion is a national security imperative. Now I want you to listen to the lieutenant colonel, who is a man posing as a woman who is with Space Force. Listen to this.
So inclusion is a national security imperative. We fight today, and we are going to fight in the future using brain power. And if that brain, who's going to revolutionize the way we fight in space, we fight in cyber, just happens to be in a trans body, you should want them all serving alongside me. And for your organizations, it's the same way. Those perspectives that we get from a diverse set of individuals, it's been talked about on stage a lot regarding the science behind high-performing teams. We need those perspectives. But it's inclusion that actually drives that. Because you can bring people in, and if they don't feel safe to speak up, if they don't feel safe to bring their full selves to work, you're not going to get the value of the diversity.
Okay. So Tulsi, the kind of inclusion that I look for, and I think most Americans are for, is diversity of thought. Somebody at the table who has the guts to say, General, Mr. President, Please do not do that, and here's why. We are focused on all the wrong kind of inclusion that means nothing to people. Where does this fit on a priority list for you?
Well, the fact that they care more about the color of your skin or how you identify or your sexuality than they do about your capability and what you bring to the table in service to our country is really indicative of their entire philosophy of their identity politics. And it's put our country in a dangerous place. I've served now in the Army for over 21 years, and I can tell you, having people surrounding myself with people in different positions. I started as a private. I'm now a lieutenant colonel. I tell my soldiers now, I'm a battalion commander. I tell them, if you disagree with my plan or my position, I want you to tell me that you disagree and tell me why, because you may have a better idea. That's exactly what we should be looking for, that diversity of thought, that environment that is inclusive of people who have a different way of doing things so that we can come up with the best plan, the best course of action, the best outcome. And that's true of the military and every agency across the government. That, to me, is what real leadership is about. And that is essential that changes. Another one of the many reasons why it's important that Donald Trump wins this election.
So a couple of other questions, and I'll let you go. You debated Kamala, and you pretty much wiped the floor with her. What advice are you giving to Donald Trump, if any? And what do you think about the attempt to change the rules now by Kamala in the debate?
Yeah, Donald Trump is not a politician. I think that's what a lot of people really, really love about him. And so it wouldn't surprise you to know, Glenn, that he doesn't do debate prep like a typical politician would at all. It's been great to be able to spend some time with him and his team. Really, for me, if there's anything that I can help with at all, it is just the fact that I've shared a stage with Kamala Harris. I know how she thinks and how she's going to try to lay some traps, try to bait Donald Trump into walking into the narrative that she's going to try to push for the American people, and quite frankly, how she's going to try. How she will try to hide her record. That to me is the biggest thing. She says one thing that is directly opposite to what her record shows. And Correct. So this really will be an opportunity for Donald Trump to expose that to the American people. And to your second question about, Kamala Harris is trying to change the rules here now less than 2 weeks before the debate. I think it points to that fact. It points to her weakness that the American people need to see. She's demanding that the debate be seated and that she be allowed to bring in notes into the debate. Why does she need notes? If she knows the issues, if she knows her stance on the most important policies and the challenges the American people are facing today, why does she need notes? Well, we know why. It goes back to the thing we started our conversation with, is because she needs someone else to tell her what to say.
Yep. Okay, last question. Yesterday I had RFK Jr. on at this time, and conservatives like me, people who have been waiting for people to wake up and see the insanity in the country, are excited because you're now campaigning for Donald Trump. RFK is campaigning for Donald Trump. And it seems like there are people waking up to see this party that says that they are protecting democracy is the furthest thing from, defenders of democracy. Do you see people waking up? Have you experienced? You think it's happening, or are we being too hopeful?
No, it is. And this is, I'll give you just two brief anecdotes that happened within the last 24 hours. I landed in an airport late last night at about 11 o'clock at night, was walking off the plane, and a guy named Jake walked up to me and said, "Hey, I really appreciate what you did today." And he talked about his family. His family comes from a long line of traditional Democrat, construction union, hardworking American families. They have voted Democrat almost their entire lives. And it is not until just recently, just over these past few days, that he got calls from his dad yesterday after I made my announcement. He said, wait, hold on a second. What's going on here? I need to pay closer attention to this and rethink the way that I thought I was going to vote. Second story, there's a teacher at a small private school who I met during my campaign for the presidency in 2020, follows me on Instagram. He talks about real education, not the broken education system, but he has always voted for a third-party candidate. He voted for me, but he had voted for third-party candidates, and that's what he was going to do. And his statement yesterday to me and on his Instagram was, hey, I think we need to rethink things. If Bobby Kennedy and Tulsi Gabbard and other common sense-minded Americans who we support are now endorsing Donald Trump, he's like, I need to check myself. I need to look in the mirror and say, what am I doing to actually make a difference rather than just make a statement?
That is fantastic news.